Viking Saga, Story 4 Vertical Bar, Part 4. The rule that devours its own in 870 AD, the sound of conquest faded, not because war ended, but because war transformed. After Jorvik bled for every mile, the Vikings did not retreat. They stayed. And staying demanded a different kind of violence. Jorvik, then York, now North Yorkshire, England. Winter pressed down on the city like a crushing hand. Smoke from hearths mixed with ash from burned districts, hanging low over timber roofs and stone churches. The river Ouse moved slower now, not frozen but cautious, its boats chained, inspected, counted. Every sack of grain carried suspicion. Every horse was measured in days of survival. Holding a city was not victory, it was consumption. Halfdan Ragnarsson, ChatGPT/generic entity, number = 0, ruled from within the walls, but his authority stretched far beyond them, into Mercia, into the Trent Basin, into lands that refused to submit quietly. Garrisons were scattered. Patrols doubled back on themselves. Orders conflicted as fast as they were given. Power multiplied problems faster than axes solved them. The fracture begins 871 AD. The first crack was not loud. It was delayed obedience. A warband stationed south of the Humber delivered tribute late. Grain wagons arrived half full. Livestock counts did not align with reports. When questioned, their commander answered with respect, but not urgency. Halfdan understood immediately. England had not done this. A Viking had. He summoned the warband to Jorvik under the cover of council. They entered the city armed and confident, expecting negotiation. What they found instead was precision. No public executions, no speeches. Before dawn, their leader was dead. His lieutenants were stripped of rank. The remaining men were reassigned across distant garrisons, separated, diluted, neutralized. Fear returned. Loyalty did not. Because fear does not bind, it corrodes. The Midlands stripped. Mercia, then. English Midlands, now. By 872 AD, Halfdan escalated. If obedience would not come willingly, it would be engineered. Settlements along supply routes were emptied before harvest. Crops seized, mills dismantled, wells fouled. Roads collapsed under deliberate destruction. Villages that fed resistance vanished so completely that later chroniclers would argue over whether they had ever existed. Numbers tell the truth, rulers avoid. Over 20 settlements erased, 5,000, 7,000 civilians displaced or killed. Entire valleys abandoned within a year. The land fell silent, but silence breeds patience. And patience is England's oldest weapon. The woman who understood power, her name survives only in fragments. She was English, captured early, not chained, chosen. She spoke languages, understood trade, counted faster than warriors could think. Halfdan used her to interpret contracts, to measure tribute, to negotiate submission. Over time, she became something more dangerous than a translator. She became a mirror. She saw commanders argue over land grants. She saw warriors grow bitter watching others rewarded. She saw Halfdan alone at night, surrounded by maps instead of men. And she loved him. Or something close enough to love to destroy him. Because intimacy reveals weakness faster than any enemy. The Second War, inside the Vikings. By 873 AD, unity was an illusion. Some leaders demanded expansion north. Others argued for consolidation. Others whispered Halfdan ruled too long, too tightly, too alone. Meetings happened without weapons. Messages moved through merchants, slaves, and wives. Ambition learned to walk quietly. Halfdan sensed betrayal but lacked certainty. Certainty arrived too late. When a southern garrison refused orders, he marched himself, nearly 6,000 men. But the road did not open. Viking shields blocked Viking paths, no declaration, no banners, just refusal. Blood followed. Axes rose against men who shared gods, language, and blood. The clash was short, brutal, intimate. No pursuit, no mercy. When it ended, the ground held bodies with the same runes carved into their blades. Casualties. Approximately 1,800 Viking dead. No territory gained. Authority shattered beyond repair. The cost of rule. Halfdan returned to Jorvik victorious only in name. The city still stood. The land was still held. But belief was gone. Every road demanded guards. Every order bred resentment. Every success produced envy. And England watched, not to defeat the Vikings, but to survive them. The woman warned him. She told him rule was killing what war had built. She told him crowns consume faster than swords. Halfdan did not listen. He could not, because leaders who stop advancing begin to sink. Part 4 ends with a truth darker than defeat. The Vikings had conquered England, but England was conquering them back, silently, relentlessly, from within. Future Tease, Part 5. The next part begins with the final unraveling. Authority collapses, alliances shatter, and Halfdan faces the choice that will define his legacy forever: remain a ruler and lose everything, or abandon the crown and return to war.